OJ? OJ?
Yeah, who is that?
I'm Erik Menendez.
Welcome to Ms. Mojo, and today we're looking at mind-blowing facts of the legendary true crime saga of the Menendez brothers that Netflix's 2024 miniseries Monsters, the Lyle and Erik Menendez story, got right. Given the disturbing nature of the case, viewer discretion is advised.
My age, Mom!
You are the hypocrite, huh? What about this?
Oh.
Erik and Lyle's crime was initially thought to be a mafia job.
Erik, did the mafia kill your parents?
No, I'm Lyle. I don't know, it certainly appears as such, but that's what we gotta find out.
Are you afraid the mafia could come after you?
Yeah. Hey, where's your camera?
At first, the sheer brutality surrounding Jose and Kitty Menendez's deaths led to speculation that due to the former's involvement in the entertainment industry, he had been engaged in a shady deal that had gone wrong, leading to an old-school mob hit.
Hey, Mafia, after what we've been through, I'd like to see you try.
Okay, is that a threat?
Okay, come on.
Your target's okay. We're getting you full-time security, 24/7, okay?
However, as noted later, there were a number of factors that didn't align with the mafia explanation. Some of these included the fact that shell casings had been collected, that such hits aren't usually executed at the victim's home, and crucially, that Jose's wife had also been slain. Eventually, it became clear that the couple's sons were responsible, explaining the anomalies.
I came here so that you tell me I'm not a bad person. Tell me I'm not a bad person.
You killed your mom and dad, Erik.
Lyle was suspended from Princeton.
You know how you get all this? Lie, cheat, steal, but win.
Jose Menendez is portrayed as a cold, cruel, calculating abuser who describes his contempt for his sons as stemming from their entitlement, having been raised with countless advantages. Menendez reportedly wanted Lyle to attend Princeton in a sort of fulfillment of the American dream.
Well, Lyle was caught plagiarizing a partner psychology lab assignment, and that's a direct...
Sorry, excuse me. Psychology lab? What is that? I've never even heard of that.
However, these dreams were squashed once it was unearthed that Lyle had, in his first semester, cheated in a psychology class. The younger Menendez was dealt a 1-year suspension, and the punishment stuck, despite his father's attempts to intervene. This suspension, and Lyle's inability to hold a job that Jose had secured for him, reportedly led to Jose's decision to consider editing his sons out of the will.
My son didn't cheat on something important.
Well, unfortunately, we just don't see it that
Look,
way.
he cheated. I will beat the hell out of him for it.
2 family members testified on Erik and Lyle's behalf.
This is done. This is done. You understand? No more between you two. And you are never to touch him. Not ever.
Monsters reveals that the Menendez brothers' alleged abuse by their mother and father wasn't exactly a secret. This is true, and backed up by court testimony. Their cousin, Diane Vandermolen, testified that in 1976, Lyle had confided in her about the inhumane treatment that his father had subjected them to.
I mean, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, Lyle, because finally you are doing something. Great! That's my boy. Good. Erik made his choice.
Per Vandermolen's testimony, she attempted to bring this up with Lyle's mother, Kitty, who brushed her off and denied that such a thing could take place. Andy Cano, another cousin, also testified that Erik had once made a similar revelation.
Well, it kind of seems like it was always happening, because, I was always afraid of him.
Your dad or Lyle?
My dad. I was never afraid of Lyle. I always felt like Lyle was my, my protector.
Erik's therapist's mistress went to the authorities.
He kept telling me that Erik was coming after me. And I kept having nightmares.
At the time of the murders, Erik had been seeing Dr. L. Jerome Oziel, a therapist. In fact, it was to Oziel that Erik first confessed to the murders, as we see early on in the first episode of Monsters. Indeed, Oziel recorded their sessions, and his tapes were admitted as evidence after the doctor stated that Erik and Lyle had made threats against him, which violated their confidentiality agreement.
I know that it's very last minute, but is there any way that I could see you today? It's important.
Looks like I have a 2 o'clock if that works for you.
Oziel was engaged in an extramarital affair with one Judalon Smith, who had been made privy to the recordings, and revealed their existence to police after Oziel refused to leave his wife for her.
He said my mom was a witch who was going to poison me. He used the word thorns to hypnotize me. So whenever he would say thorns, my mind would just go blank.
Craig Signorelli wore a wire to lunch with Erik.
If you want to help out Erik and help us with our investigation, there is something you can do.
Signorelli was high school friends with Erik Menendez, and the two even wrote a screenplay called Friends, which, as we'll get into a little later, played a significant role in the brothers' case. Erik reportedly confessed to Craig 12 days after his parents' deaths, with the latter claiming that after the admission, the two, quote, just went on with the conversation after that.
Sounds like you're doing good.
Yeah, I am. I don't think my dad would want me to mope around. I think he'd want me to live.
Upon learning he was a suspect, Signorelli repeated Erik's confession to them and signaled his willingness to cooperate by wearing a wire to Gladstone's, a popular local fish restaurant. Ultimately, as depicted on Monsters, Craig was unable to get Erik to repeat his earlier statements.
I think with a few quick rewrites, we could totally sell it.
Yeah, maybe.
And now, we could make it more believable,
The brothers' alibi.
Are you having trouble hearing me? The 9:50 screening of Batman.
Yeah, but it's 10:40 now.
I know, but that's the one that we want to see. Can you help me out here? My girlfriend is in there.
Tell her the last half is the best.
An early scene from Monsters depicts Lyle and Erik becoming increasingly frustrated as they try to procure tickets to see Tim Burton's 1989 superhero film Batman. This aligns with the real-life alibi the two concocted in order to avoid arousing suspicion, as well as any speculation that they could have been involved with their parents' deaths.
So I am enjoying some fine wine and some fine cheese, and I'm making sure that people see us.
Because we've been here, 4 hours now? You know what they say, time flies when you're at the taste.
Their story at the time was that they had gone to see the Burton film again after being unable to get into the James Bond film License to Kill. It was also reported that they had bought tickets for the Taste of LA festival, held at the Santa Monica Civic Auditorium, as further quote-unquote proof that they couldn't be responsible.
Slower, please.
Thanks.
Enjoy the show.
The infamous post-crime spending spree.
And as far as transportation goes?
Well, you have the limousine.
Right, but for both of us.
You're asking for a second limousine?
Yeah, that'd be great.
In Netflix's Monsters, veteran journalist and filmmaker Dominic Dunn, as portrayed by Nathan Lane, is shown to be a passionate advocate for justice and murder victims, and his 1990 article Nightmare on Elm Drive formed the basis of the public's understanding of the Menendez case.
I do think Lyle was a genius on the witness stand. Maybe an evil genius. But I can't say the same about Erik.
One crucial element was Erik and Lyle's extravagant spending, which is depicted on the show. The two traveled, dined, and spent extensively, buying luxury cars, watches, properties, and even investing in a buffalo wing restaurant. The brothers reportedly spent, between the two of them, over $700,000 prior to being arrested.
Look, another TCBY. It's a freaking gold mine.
See, this is exactly what I want to do with Mr. Buffalo. Everywhere that there's a TCBY, there should be a Mr. Buffalo across the street.
Lyle was going bald.
You are the hypocrite, huh? What about this?
Oh.
One of the most shocking Monsters moments has nothing to do with the sordid details of the Menendez's upbringing or what happened to the brothers' parents. Rather, it's the out-of-left-field reveal that Lyle regularly wears a hairpiece, which is violently torn off by Kitty Menendez during an argument with her son.
How long have you had that?
3 years ago? 4?
Jose Menendez made the decision for his son, claiming that, quote, to be successful, Lyle would need a thick head of hair. As noted by Robert Rand in his book, The Menendez Murders, Lyle's toupee was glued to his scalp, and having it removed in such a way would have been extremely painful for him.
You wanna be a killer, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You wanna succeed in business?
Yes, sir.
You wanna go into politics? Then you gotta have a good head of hair, right?
Lyle and Erik became friendly with O.J. Simpson.
Cleaning those cell block today.
Why?
We got a VIP coming in.
In what seems like an impossible coincidence, one Monsters episode ends with O.J. Simpson being moved into the jail cell next to Erik Menendez's, following the former's 1994 apprehension for the deaths of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman.
Simpson in that Ford Bronco with Al Cowlings. O.J., according to the CHP, has a gun to his head and is saying that he wants to be driven to his mother's.
Erik attempts to console an unseen O.J. and gives him legal advice. Although it's easy to dismiss the scene as a dream sequence or a fantastical Hollywood fabrication, this actually happened. Beyond that, Lyle also developed a rapport with the disgraced former NFL player, and even wrote him a letter imploring Simpson to plead guilty for ending Brown Simpson and Goldman's lives.
Hey, OJ? OJ?
Yeah, who is that?
I'm Erik Menendez.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Erik's revealing screenplay.
It's not a shitty screenplay. It was actually really good. So.
I'd like us to stay focused.
Friends is something that Craig and me put a lot of work into, and you haven't even read it.
Sometimes the truth really is stranger than fiction. In a moment that seems like it was written for a Netflix true crime drama, it's revealed that Erik Menendez, along with the aforementioned Craig Signorelli, wrote a film script in which Hamilton Cromwell, the protagonist, takes his parents' lives in order to claim an exorbitant inheritance.
It was kind of inspired by that movie, The Billionaire Boys Club.
My father was not a man to show his emotions. Sometimes he would tell me that I was not worthy to be his son.
While the 66-page script was deemed inadmissible as evidence, its resemblance to the events of the Menendez case is striking. As Signorelli later explained, the deaths of his and Menendez's fictional main character's parents was a means of getting from point A to point B, so that Cromwell can come into a significant sum of money and exact an evil scheme.
That is the dumbest title I've ever heard. No wonder it never sold. And you didn't tell Craig what we did you?
Which Monsters moment shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments.